before your kings and emperors. It was created alongside and in accompanying the children of the Great Mother, which all came through women through matriarchal lines.
Go ahead.
Right? Blood began to diversify. And this is where you get your ABO blood groupings from. Right? The original blood is Omega blood. They call it O blood. They don't tell you O stand for Omega because the buck stops with Big Mama.
Go ahead.
Right? So now that you got your AB, your A in positive and negative, now you tend to think that it's the O blood don't matter no more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Original blood gonna always matter when it comes to the offspring of a mother with original blood, because one of them children is gonna come along and tell you what happened, who did it, where they came from, why they did it, what was their intent, and gonna bring the receipts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is my next question, because we got so now, man, it seems like to me that everything is going up. They study, like they putting a crunch on us with the money game, because like I know we saying that the system is going out, but we still having some kind of way deal in this system with a monetary system, right? Now, I noticed that they starting to inflate us. They going up on rent, they going up on everything, but then they going down on our hours and pay. So what do you think the ultimate goal of this inflation, this whatever it is, how they putting the crunch on us, man? What do you think? How long you think this gonna last? Oh, we gonna have to regroup and come up out the system and try something else before they put the crunch all the way down on us? You know, with the inflation.
Look, all of those things are what you call leverage tools. The only purpose. Okay, anytime you start to reevaluate your currency, it causes an inflation spike. Anytime you just ordinate it alone causes an inflation, a price hike.
That makes
right.
sense.
It's just a natural order of business that they created. Mm-hmm. Now, you're gonna have what they call a recession, right? First, you're gonna have the depression comes from the spiked inflation. Then people stop spending money, which causes them, they try to lower prices to get them back into circulating the money again. It causes a recession. Prices go down, people, cost of living, jobs start paying more, anything to get you to spend money. The reason that is because once you stop spending the money and stop circulating, the value starts to rapidly decrease. This is why they send it overseas and let it come back home rather than spend it at home and expand it overseas. Mm. They take our money and spend it overseas. This is what the whole Doge team is uncovering. Trillions of dollars spent all over the world and only a couple of billion is spent at home.
That's right.
And it's insufficient in order to sustain the lifestyle of inequality for the people in the country, but that's okay because the people that's in charge ain't from here. Mm-hmm. They from Europe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, the people from Europe is sending all of the money to Europe, but they ain't the only ones. Right? These people originally came from Mount Hermon.
Go ahead. Somebody just broke
They came from Mount Hermon. And this is the ground zero of Mount Zion or Mount Zion. We talking, they gave us the blueprint. They wasn't trying to give it to us. It was all done by a spark of lightning, a crooked man walking on the land. He struck a rider off a horse. When they recovered the rider, he got the writing that he was trying to deliver in secret. And the secret is now exposed to the public.
Yeah.
Then they go into the denial phases. No Jews ever wrote that, but why do they all live practicing everything in the book? Don't tell me you ain't got nothing to do with it when it's describing your entire modus operandi from the time you came until the time your ass about to get kicked out. The next generation, elder, this next generation now, all I had to do was get them to think and know who they was and show them where our elders already been telling us and tie it all together. What Malachi taught, what Bobby Hemmett taught, what Elijah Muhammad taught, what Clarence 13X taught, what Yahweh ben Yahweh taught. Why Yahweh ben Yahweh doctrine as a Hebrew Israelite is different from Ben Ami doctrine as a Hebrew Israelite.
Go ahead.
Right? And both of them doctrines is different from the nation of Israel. They got all these different doctrines supposed to be the same. It's just like the church, denominations.
Right.
Because everybody got a piece, though nobody got the whole puzzle.
Right.
And they all gonna hold a piece back until somebody come along, and then they gonna slide that piece to him and say, see if this piece fit.
Right.
Right? So the hardest part of the puzzle to figure out was the black hand. The mystery of the black hand, the unseen hand, the hidden hand, was the niggas that Yakub left in charge of his grafted double. Right? That's the biggest part of it. Elijah got the biggest piece of the pie to give you. But that discipline of them FOI, don't no nigga want that discipline. These niggas are scared of discipline. If you try to give them some FOI style discipline in one of these other groups, they not going to be able to function. They going to panic. Mm-hmm. Right? Why they going to panic? Because now somebody teaching you to stand on your own, be ready to defend yourself at all times, but also how to be courteous to other people. They don't want that. They want to be derelicts, degenerates, victims. This is why the slave narrative is so hard for our minds to break, because as long as we see ourselves as a victim, we're going to keep getting victimized.
Right.
Everybody pushing that slave narrative, wherever y'all see them niggas that y'all need to throw a rock at them. Right. Hit them with a rotten egg. The slave narrative is only to take your prisoner of war status and turn you into a permanent victim instead of you realizing we ain't never stopped fighting in 500 years. How the hell you think we were slaves? We ain't never been no slave, because the narrative they give you tell you that the children of the women of a slave woman is a slave no matter who her father is. Right? So that means that once you a slave, always a slave, you can't break free. And as long as you can't break free, they got you mentally entrapped. You looking for reparations instead of birthright. Right. I don't want no reparations. I want birthright.
Go ahead. Talk to him, Rod.
I was born to be the motherfucking high chief of Turtle Island. Go ahead. On the leadership rulership line. I was not born to be a peasant. I wasn't born to be somebody begging that master table for some crumbs when he got my cake up there that he eating off of. No, flip this motherfucker over.
Go ahead.
Flip the table over. If I can't eat my own food, you can't have none either. And until we get out that slave mentality, them telling us we were slaves, this is why what's my man name, bro?
Ducateer?
It's the book. I can't remember the name of the book. If I remember the name of the book, the name of the author. But When We Were Kings, the name of the book, I believe it's the name of it. Right? Why would it even tell you when you was kings and then turn around and push a slave narrative? You can't be a king and a slave at the same time. You one or the other. You can be a prisoner of war and still be a king. You could be a prisoner of war and still be a general. You could be a prisoner of war and still be the prince, heir to the throne. You can be a prisoner of war and be every high-ranked official you ever seen, but you cannot be a slave and be any of that.
Go ahead.
A slave is a permanent servant status derived from Yugoslavians usurped by Moors. The Yugoslavians was the ones that we became known as slave. Slave is a Slav, and a Slav is from Yugoslavia.
Go ahead.
This is where they got their royal harems from, that they produced your Khazarians. Your Khazarians is a mulatto hybrid race. They a mixture of dirty Moors and European pale-faced Slavics.
Go ahead.
they loved their sons that came from them because they carried themselves a little bit different than regular Moors, and they didn't act nothing like the Slavs they came from. So they gave them the banker rights. The banker ain't got no hereditary royal rights. He just got you can count my money, son. I'm gonna give you an important job. I'm gonna let you count my money. And by if you count money long enough, you're gonna understand how money works.
Go ahead.
It's a book called Modern Money Mechanics. For all y'all say I don't got no references. Modern Money Mechanics was written by the Federal Reserve to tell them how the fractional reserve system was gonna drain your pockets.
Gang.
Right. So once they got them, this is why they fighting in Israel, to keep them from fighting in Ukraine. Ukraine is Khazarian. These niggas don't read history, so they don't know that the war in what we call in the Middle East on the Gaza Strip is to keep everybody out of Ukraine.
Hey, now I got since you paused right there, I got another question for you.
Come on with it.
Cause this one right here, heavy duty, man. So on my research on studying the land, Mississippi come up a lot, man, as some kind of significant spot. Like Chicago is significant, but you know, like Larry Hoover, you know, Jeff Ford, the King David Boxtel, all these guys that went up to Chicago, they come out of Mississippi. And
because the old Mississippians is the last line of defense.
Go ahead. Could you go ahead on that? Why Mississippi is important? And go ahead.
Yeah, the Mississippian clans, which a whole bunch of us, a sub-tribe is Chickasaw. Those are sub-tribes of Mississippian. The Mississippian is the same as your Aztec, Olmec, Incas, and Mayas. We used to encompass the Fertile Crescent of the Americas after the meteor struck and formed the Gulf. That's how it became the Fertile Crescent. Just like it really wasn't no meteor, it really was a bomb. Just like the one that created the Mediterranean was a bomb.
Go ahead.
But they want to tell us it was meteors, and the people want to fall for the meteor story. So we gonna say it's a meteor, but it didn't change the fact that we was there when the meteor hit.
Right. Go ahead.
Okay. And the remnants of the remaining civilization went into South America, came into North America because they was displaced in the land. What we know as St. Bernard Parish was called a shelf. That means it was a piece of land with a whole bunch of water under it. So when they start bombing, they could sink St. Bernard Parish by putting a hole between the main land and the parish where it'll sink under the water. So they did it. Don't believe me? Go look up St. Bernard Parish. It's right there. They got churches there. How is it a church there if it's been sunk for thousands of years and wasn't no churches over here?
Right. Go ahead.
There were no churches over here until they started converting our cathedrals into churches.
Go ahead.
The cross is not a cross. The cross is a sword and a stone. Where that story come from, Elder? King Arthur's Knights of the Round Table.
He can pull the sword out the stone.
Right. All that is what made him worthy to pull the sword out the stone.
I can't remember. That's been so long.
His blood right.
Yeah. Birthrights, yeah.
So when you go back to the blood right, and then you understand the bloodlines of a holy grail, what is he talking about? These are the offspring of Jesus. Jesus is Isis, 12 daughters. They all women. It's going to be a woman that's going to bring it all around full circle. Right? It's two women that was the big mamas of the land. One of them crossed over, so that left one remaining heir. The big mama off the Red House was Empress Verdiasi. Now we got to go to the East Coast Blue House. We had to go to Empress Redbird, the next in line. Right? And the heritable rights come through the woman. The land, you can't sell land. All this old taxing on your property bullshit. That's all fraud. That's all fraud. They're not supposed to be able to take your land. Once Big Mama give you a plot of land, the only people can take it is your brother, your sister, or your children. Can't nobody else take it from you.
Go ahead.
But when you don't know your birthright, when you don't know your bloodline, you don't got to have no paperwork to know who you is. You got to know who you is more important than the paperwork.
Go ahead.
Because now it's going to light a fire under you, root chakra, that's going to rise up to find your crown chakra, right? And then you're going to speak up, throat chakra, and tell these people the truth, heart chakra. And it's going to hit them in a emotional context, your third chakra, right? And then they're going to tell it to their offspring, second chakra. Come on, man. It's all in alignment.
Go ahead.
It's all in alignment. The earth got chakras and we got chakras. And when our chakras talk to the earth chakras, we making some shit move.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now where we at, the average Joe that thought he was from Africa is starting to realize, wait a minute, that story don't even make no effing sense.
Go ahead.
It don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
They got millions of people over here. They said they killed us off. They killed us off on paper. They didn't kill us off in truth.
Paper genocide. Go ahead. Walter
right.
Pleasant in the game.
And Andrew Jackson.
Yep.
Don't leave his punk ass out.
Yeah.
Then you remember, King George set up Georgia to be a buffer zone between the Spanish Armada fighting in Florida and the French Huguenots fighting in New Orleans. Because when we was fighting both sides. They got to cut us off from each other.
It's deep. Go ahead.
Georgia was never meant to be a state. It was supposed to be a buffer zone because when the real servants that they brought over here with them was escaping. Can you pull up the picture of the
it's probably gonna mess my computer up since I got a lot of stuff. Oh, I got a lot of files on my computer. I didn't get a chance to slide them to this hard drive. So as soon as I go pull it up,
I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up just to show you.
Okay.
But look, they keep telling us that the nappy head person in the Gullah Wars was the runaway. He wasn't the runaway slave.
Nah.
The runaway slave was the Mongolian.
Yeah, they call it the Seminole. So if you're a runaway, he a Seminole.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got another 5 question for you after this one too. After we get off this question. Cause I got about, man, it's a game that's going on that I'm seeing over here. Especially about them letting people come over to this country and be born over here, and then they get more privileges than the original earth, the original land, like the original people that's over here. You know what I'm saying? Like I noticed it's a lot of foreigners that own a lot of stuff over here, like businesses, like houses, rent houses and all that. And they over here and they come over here and they get a leg up. They get a leg up starting out. They come over here and buy a house, cash. How's that happening when how's Nubians still struggling the way we struggling as a whole when all these foreigners are coming over here and they just come right up over here, get a 10, 20,000 from the bank? Is that part of the plot against? Is that part of a plot against us?
Yeah.
To let everybody else get on but us?
They trying to overrun the land with foreigners so that we become the minority, but they can't never do it because what end up happening is anybody that get a drop of blood, now they become one of us.
Go ahead. That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. They got the Hindus,
trying to find this particular book about the Seminole Wars, Gullah Wars. You got a brother and a so-called Native Americans standing side by side.
Go ahead.
And they telling us that the brother was the runaway. He wasn't a runaway slave. He wasn't the one that
they got that on the cover of the book called The Black Indians. You've seen it. That book I got a book called The Black Indians, and they got a brother on the front, and then they got one of those. The brothers are Asian because here you
go right here.
The Black Indians, right? The cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that book.
Now, the person that don't know history, think that when they talking about the runaway slave, they talking about that dude.
Yeah.
But this was the runaway slave. That's who they brought when they came as servants.
Right.
Right. Them the ones that they went taught. They set up schools to teach them how to mimic us.
Right.
Then that's the biggest. Them the ones that they switched us out with in the Trail of Tears. That's why they all on reservations.
And in fact, the dude that's on that cover, Rod, the dude that's on that cover, he the chief. He's the chief of the Chickasaw. The dude that's on that cover, he's a chief of the Chickasaw tribe.
You talking about the brother with the suit on?
Yeah, he a chief of the Chickasaw tribe. The dude that they got on that cover. The
right. So, like I be telling people, they telling us they brought us from Africa. We ran away, and we were so hard to catch because we knew the land too well. How you gonna come from Africa and know America better than the motherfucker that been living here, keeping people in bondage for the last 80, 90, 100 years?
Go ahead.
That don't even make sense. And then they running away at like 12 and 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And they knowing how to navigate the land. Ain't no foreigner gonna know at 12, 13 years old gonna know how to navigate the land like that. I'm sorry, but it's not gonna happen. This is so much that goes into the fairy tales that they give us as history. You got to remember, the victors write the history. I didn't make that quote up.
Right.
If the victor is writing the history, what version of history is he gonna tell the people he's trying to oppress?
Right.
He gonna make them proud of their oppressor, proud of whatever governmental format they set up. Right? That's called patriarchal pride, or what they call patriotism.
Go ahead.
They want to take you from your motherland, tie you to a fatherland that's a foreigner.
Go ahead.
The fatherland don't determine heritable birthright land ownership. Where we get all the land from? Why are we the largest heritable landowners at the turn of the century of the 1900s?
Right.
And we brought from Africa. That don't even match.
Yeah. And how these brothers got doctor's degrees back when people were a lot of these brothers had doctor's degrees back when people were supposed to be slaves and there wasn't no Nubian schools. That's what they telling us all this. But how these brothers got doctor's degrees? How's there a brother like Frederick Douglass during time like up high in the government? Like that, and they said that the Nubians were slaves. They don't, like, the storyline do not make sense. It's like a lot of stuff they saying don't make sense. And also, Rod, how they gonna bring that many slaves on the boat over here, and that the boats wasn't even, the whole construct of you got to take 6 months to get over here. Where you get water from? If the water is salt water, like, it's a lot of stuff that just don't make sense.
Yeah, well, that's we know that it take 2 weeks